Millionaire can't hold back tears when poor girl finds her inheritance and asks for something surprising. In the vastness of a big city, amidst towering skyscrapers and busy streets, there existed a world invisible to many. In this concrete and steel landscape, a young girl named Sophia struggled to survive. Her large, expressive eyes, full of deep melancholy, told stories of lonely nights and endless days. At just 12 years old, Sophia already knew the weight of life as few did. Abandoned by her parents, who were consumed by drug addiction, she found herself alone on the streets from a very young age. With no home to call her own, the cold sidewalk was her bed, and the night sky her blanket. Wearing worn and dirty clothes, Sophia roamed the corners, often hungry and always looking for a safe place to spend the night. The city, with its bright lights and incessant movement, was a cruel contrast to Sophia's reality. While others walked briskly, immersed in their own lives, Sophia struggled to find a crumb of kindness amidst the anonymity of the masses. Every day was a battle against hunger and cold, against contempt and indifference. But even in the face of such adversity, there was something in Sophia that refused to be defeated, a flame of hope that shone in her tired eyes. Sophia had a resilient spirit and wisdom beyond her years. Observing the world around her, she learned quickly and adapted to circumstances. She sought shelter in forgotten alleys and deserted squares, places where she could escape the curious and sometimes cruel gaze of passers-by. She made friends with other homeless people, sharing stories and the little she had. Even in the darkest moments, Sophia found solace in small things: the warmth of the sun on her skin, the distant sound of laughter, the smell of fresh bread from the bakeries she passed on her walks. These small pleasures were her anchors, reminders that there was still beauty in the world, even if hidden in the shadows of her harsh reality. Sophia didn't know what the future held, but she believed with unwavering faith that something better was coming. And so, day after day, she continued her silent struggle, an invisible warrior in the heart of the city, waiting for the moment when her luck would change, and she would find the peace and security she so longed for. Sophia's past was a territory of bitter memories and emotional scars. Born in a small house in the city's suburbs, she had known from an early age the instability of a home marked by addiction. Her parents, once figures of love and care, had been engulfed by the abyss of drugs. The decline was gradual, but relentless, turning moments of family joy into scenes of chaos and despair. Sophia vaguely remembered the happy days when the house was full of laughter, and the aroma of homemade food filled the air. However, these memories were like faded photographs, painfully contrasting with the scenes that followed. The arguments were frequent, the screams penetrated the thin walls, and the nights became a battleground of wounded emotions and broken promises. Her father, who once rocked her in his arms and told stories of heroes, began to disappear for days, always returning more worn out, with empty eyes and a strange smell of dark streets. Her mother, a loving and caring woman, turned into a spectral figure, trapped in a desperate cycle of temporary relief from needles and pills. Sophia often found her crying alone, lost in a sea of regret and despair. The family's resources soon ran out. Bills piled up, and the furniture, once bought with so much effort, was sold or traded for doses of substances that promised escape, but brought only more misery. Despite her tender age, Sophia understood what was happening. She saw her parents turning into shadows of what they once were, their empty gazes fixed on a point beyond the present. The fateful night that changed everything was still vivid in Sophia's memory, a more intense argument than the others, doors slamming, and suddenly, silence. She woke up to find the house empty, except for a poorly written note, begging for forgiveness and promising to return. But they never did. Sophia was left alone, with only the echo of empty promises and the raw reality of her situation. The social assistance system tried to intervene, but Sophia, with her resilient spirit and distrust planted by the betrayal of those who should have loved her, fled. She preferred to face the uncertainties of the streets rather than be handed over to the unknown again. Thus began her solitary journey, carrying with her not only the responsibility of survival but also the weight of a past that refused to be forgotten. Sophia learned to protect herself and to trust in herself. Every scar, physical or emotional, was a testament to her strength and her ability to face adversity. And even with a heart broken by her parents' choices, she kept a small flame of hope, believing that one day, something good would come her way, something that would justify all the pain and suffering she'd endured until then. The city's streets were relentless, but Sophia, with fierce determination and keen intelligence, quickly learned to navigate this urban labyrinth. Each dawn brought a new challenge, and she faced each one with the courage of someone who had nothing left to lose. Sophia knew that safety was a mirage in the life she led. She found shelter in places where few dared to go, dark alleys, abandoned buildings, and even under bridges where the river murmured stories of other homeless souls. At night, the cold was a constant enemy, and the darkness hid dangers that could emerge at any moment. To stay safe, she relied on her cunning, always alert, moving with the discretion of a ghost. Hunger was a constant companion. In the early days, Sophia scavenged through dumpsters for food scraps, but soon realized this wasn't enough. She began frequenting areas near markets and restaurants, observing the times when food was discarded. Her agile hands and keen eyes made her a master at rescuing fruits, bread, and anything that could satiate her hunger for another day. Over time, Sophia developed a network of allies, other homeless individuals, each with their own story of loss and resilience, shared their knowledge and resources. In exchange, Sophia offered her help and camaraderie, born from a mutual understanding of the struggle for survival. They exchanged tips about the best places to find food, which alleys to avoid, and where charity might offer some relief. Sophia also learned to rely on the occasional generosity of strangers. Initially, shame prevented her from asking for help directly, but necessity quickly overcame pride. She chose her approaches carefully, addressing people who seemed kinder or who showed a gesture of goodwill in their faces. A shy smile, a polite request. Sometimes it was enough to earn a piece of bread, a bottle of water, or on lucky days, a coin or two. Survival required more than just food and shelter. Sophia found solace in daily rituals that helped her maintain her sanity amidst the chaos. She sought out bits of nature in the city, a park where she could sit and listen to the birds sing, where the green of the trees offered a glimpse of peace. She collected small treasures, a smooth stone, a colorful feather, reminders that the world still held beauty, even in its darkest corners. And so, day by day, Sophia faced the brutality of life on the streets with indomitable determination. Each challenge overcome was a silent victory. Each day survived, a testament to her strength. And though her life was full of uncertainties, she carried with her the hope that one day the streets would no longer be her home, and something extraordinary awaited her beyond the horizon. On a gray morning when the cold seemed to have infiltrated even the city's bones, Sophia wandered the streets in search of something to help her face another day. Her steps led her to a narrow alley, one of those places many avoided, but where she had learned to find small lost or forgotten treasures. As she explored the alley, something different caught her attention. Amidst the trash and discarded remains, a subtle shine reflected the faint light of the rising sun. Curious, Sophia approached, and with delicate but firm hands, began to remove the debris around the object. With each movement, the shine increased, revealing an intricately crafted wooden box, adorned with golden details that now glowed, even under the layer of dust accumulated over time. Sophia's heart beat faster. It was rare to find something of value amidst the trash, and this discovery seemed almost magical. She sat on the dirty ground, with the box in her lap, her fingers tracing the intricate patterns before finally deciding to open the latch. The lid lifted with a soft creak, revealing a velvet-lined interior, and inside, something she never expected to find. a collection of antique jewelry and an old worn leather diary. The jewelry, studded with precious stones, were clearly relics from a bygone era. There were necklaces with emerald pendants, gold rings with bright rubies, and bracelets adorned with sapphires. Each piece seemed to tell its own story, carrying the weight and beauty of generations. Sophia was amazed by the unexpected treasure in her hands, but it was the diary that truly captured her curiosity. She opened the diary carefully, smelling the aged paper and touching the yellowed pages that seemed ready to disintegrate at any moment. The diary was full of memories, family secrets, and personal stories of a man named Oliver. The first pages told the story of his youth, his adventures, and the challenges he faced to build his fortune. Among the narratives, there was also a moving account of a promise he made to help someone in need, reflecting his desire to repay the generosity he once received. Sophia, with tears in her eyes, not of sadness but of sudden and unexpected hope, realized that she held something of great value, not just monetary but emotional and historical. This could be the opportunity she never thought she'd have, something that could change her life forever. But how? And who was the owner of this mysterious box? The name on the documents, Oliver, seemed important. Maybe he was an influential man, perhaps someone who could recognize the value of what she had found. The decision formed in her mind. She needed to find Oliver and return what seemed to be his. Maybe, in an act of generosity, he could help her. With the box safely tucked in her backpack, Sophia set off, her heart racing, knowing that this encounter with the mysterious object could be the first step towards a radical change in her life. As she walked the streets, she felt that fate was finally smiling upon her, offering a chance to escape the darkness that enveloped her and to find the light she had always known existed somewhere, even if far away. That night she found temporary refuge in an abandoned building where she could explore the contents of the box undisturbed. Sitting under the dim light of an old lantern she pulled out the velvet box and opened it again, her eyes shining with the promise of what was to come. She began with the jewelry, examining each piece with reverent care. Although she had no experience with jewelry, she knew enough to recognize that these pieces were extraordinary. The emerald necklaces, ruby rings, and sapphire bracelets were not only beautiful, they were incredibly valuable. Each piece seemed to have been made with care and precision, suggesting craftsmanship from another era. Sophia imagined the skilled hands that had created such wonders and the aristocratic necks and fingers that had proudly displayed those jewels. But it was the diary that truly captured her attention. She opened it to the first page, where elegant handwriting announced the name Oliver Montgomery. With delicate fingers, Sophia flipped through the pages, absorbing every word, every detail of the stories Oliver had recorded. He wrote about his youth, a period full of adventures and challenges, but what touched her most were the accounts of his travels, where he had acquired those jewels, each with a unique story of discovery and passion. As she read, Sophia discovered that Oliver was not just any millionaire. He was a man of deep sensitivity and generosity, someone who valued human connections above any material wealth. One particular entry caught her attention. Oliver's great-grandfather had found the jewels on an expedition to Europe, where an antique dealer had told him about the legend of the Jewels of the Brave. It was believed that these jewels belonged to an ancient noble family, and each piece was a symbol of courage and unwavering love. Oliver had written about the promise he made to himself. One day, he would use those jewels to change the life of someone who demonstrated similar courage. He believed that the jewels carried a special energy, destined to transform the life of whoever possessed them, as long as that person was worthy. As she continued reading, Sophia felt a chill run down her spine. Oliver's stories and promise resonated deeply with her own life. She, a girl facing unimaginable adversities and continuing to fight with courage, could she be the recipient of this extraordinary inheritance? The diary seemed to whisper to her, encouraging her to believe that yes, She could. With her heart racing, Sophia realized the true value of what she had found. It wasn't just the monetary value of the jewels, but the deep meaning they carried. It was as if fate had led her to that box, as if she were destined to find those relics and Oliver's story. She knew she needed to find Oliver, not just to return the jewels, but to share her own story and see if she was the person he was looking for. Determined, Sophia closed the diary with a new sense of purpose. She had to find Oliver and discover if fate had indeed chosen her to bear those jewels of the brave. As she prepared for the journey ahead, she felt stronger and more hopeful than ever. The dawn brought a new day, and with it, the promise of a new life, full of possibilities and hope. With the velvet box and Oliver's diary safely tucked in her backpack, Sophia set off on a search that would change her life. Determined to find the man behind the stories, she began exploring the details written in the yellowed pages of the diary. Oliver Montgomery. The name sounded imposing, almost mythical, but for Sophia, he represented hope and a chance to change her destiny. Sophia knew that finding a millionaire in the vastness of the city would not be an easy task. However, Oliver's diary was more than just a repository of memories. It was an emotional map, full of subtle clues that could guide her on her journey. She started by visiting public libraries, places where the rich rarely set foot but where precious information could be found. She used the available computers to search for any mention of the name Oliver Montgomery. After days of tireless searches and suspicious looks from librarians, Sophia finally found a promising lead, an old news article about a philanthropist named Oliver Montgomery, known for his generous donations to animal shelters and orphanages. The article mentioned a charity event he had organized years ago, with details about his company, Montgomery Enterprises, located in the heart of the city. With a new goal, Sophia headed to the city center. The gleaming skyscrapers and bustling streets were a stark contrast to the dark alleys she knew so well. Passing hurried executives and dazzled tourists, Sophia finally found the imposing building with the Montgomery Enterprises sign in golden letters. It was a place she never imagined entering, but there she was, standing on the sidewalk, her heart pounding. Taking a deep breath, she entered the luxurious lobby. The gleaming marble and the brightness of the lights intimidated her, but she didn't let it show. She approached the receptionist, an elegant woman who looked at her with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "I need to speak with Mr. Oliver Montgomery," Sophia said, her voice firm despite her nervousness. The receptionist raised an eyebrow, clearly accustomed to turning away unwanted visitors. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked, looking Sophia up and down. "No, but it's important. I have something that belongs to him." Sophia pulled the velvet box from her backpack, not opening it, but enough to catch the receptionist's attention. There was a moment of hesitation before the receptionist picked up the phone and made a call. After a brief conversation, she nodded and turned to Sophia. "Mr. Montgomery can see you now. Please follow me." Sophia was led through wide, well-lit corridors to a luxurious office. There, behind a mahogany desk, was Oliver Montgomery. He was a middle-aged man, with graying hair and a kind look that exuded wisdom. When Sophia entered, he looked up from the papers in front of him and smiled slightly. "Mr. Montgomery, I'm Sophia," she began, hesitant but determined. "I found something that belongs to you." She placed the velvet box on his desk, opening it to reveal the jewelry and the diary. Oliver remained silent for a moment, his eyes filling with emotion as he recognized the items. He picked up the diary with trembling hands, flipping through the pages with a mix of surprise and nostalgia. "These jewels and this diary. How did you find them?" he asked, his voice choked with emotion. Sophia told her story from the moment she found the box to the decision to find him. As she spoke, she saw the expressions on Oliver's face change from curiosity to deep compassion. When she finished, he remained silent for a long time, absorbing everything he had heard. "You have an incredible spirit, Sophia," he finally said, tears in his eyes. "And these jewels are part of a promise I made a long time ago. I always knew that one day I would find someone worthy of them. And now I see that person is you." Sophia couldn't hold back the tears that began to fall. This was more than she ever dared to dream. At that moment in Oliver Montgomery's luxurious office, the lives of Sophia and Oliver intertwined in a way neither could have predicted. The silence in Oliver Montgomery's office was palpable, filled with a mixture of expectation and emotion. Sophia, sitting in front of the millionaire, felt the weight of the moment. Oliver, with the diary in hand, looked at her with an intensity that mixed curiosity and deep empathy. "Sophia, your story is moving," he began, trying to find the right words. "You've been through things that many people couldn't endure, and yet, here you are, with incredible strength and courage." Sophia, accustomed to maintaining a facade of toughness, felt exposed before the kindness and recognition in Oliver's eyes. The journey to that point had been long and painful, but for the first time, she felt that someone truly saw and understood her struggle. "I had no choice," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Living on the streets teaches you to be strong, but I never imagined I would find something like this. These jewels and your diary. It felt like a miracle." Oliver smiled, a smile that carried both pain and relief. "These jewels have an old story. They have belonged to my family for generations. But to me, they were always more than just relics." He paused, looking at the shining pieces in the box. "I always believed they should be a symbol of hope, something that could change someone's life in a significant way." He closed the diary with a deep sigh, as if closing a chapter of his own life. "And now, Sophia, it seems you are the person destined to find these jewels." Sophia felt a knot form in her throat. "I just wanted to find the owner and return what is his. I didn't expect anything in return." Oliver nodded, admiring the simplicity and sincerity in her words. "And that's exactly what makes you special. Most would have tried to sell these jewels for easy money, but you chose honesty and integrity. That says a lot about your character." He stood up, walking to a large window that overlooked the city below. "Sophia, I want to do more for you. Not just because you brought back something of inestimable value to me, but because you deserve a chance to live a better life away from the streets. I want to help you achieve your dreams, whatever path you choose to follow." Sophia was speechless, tears silently streaming down her face. Never before had anyone offered her such kindness and opportunity. She stood up too, feeling strangely light, as if an invisible burden was being lifted from her shoulders. "Mr. Montgomery, Oliver," she corrected, seeing his encouraging smile. "I don't know what to say. Just thank you." "Truly." Oliver approached and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "No need to thank me, Sophia. Just know that you are no longer alone." From that moment on, Sophia knew that her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. And with Oliver by her side, the journey that would unfold would be one of discoveries, challenges, and above all, renewed hope. The next morning, Sophia woke up in a soft bed for the first time in years. The sunlight filtered through the linen curtains, casting a golden glow around the elegantly decorated room. She still couldn't believe all of this was real. The night before, Oliver had taken her to his home, a place that seemed straight out of a fairy tale, offering her a cozy room and promises of a better future. When she came down for breakfast, she found Oliver at the table with a warm smile. "Good morning, Sophia. How did you sleep?" "Like an angel," she replied, amazed by the kindness surrounding her. The table was covered with fresh fruits, artisanal breads, and juices. For a girl used to surviving on scraps, it looked like a feast. After the meal, Oliver took her to his office. "Today we'll take the first steps to fulfill your wish, Sophia." He picked up the phone and made some calls, scheduling meetings and settling details. Each action demonstrated his determination to transform her life. The first appointment was at a renowned private school. Oliver introduced Sophia to the principal, a stern-looking woman who quickly softened upon hearing Sophia's story. "We're happy to have you, Sophia," said the principal. "I'm sure you'll do very well here." Sophia began attending classes, initially shy but soon finding her rhythm. Oliver accompanied her closely, ensuring she had all the necessary materials. In the first few days, he drove her to and from school, and during each trip, they talked about their days, laughed, and got to know each other better. Oliver was not just a benefactor, he was becoming a father figure she never had. Besides school, Oliver enrolled Sophia in tutoring sessions and extracurricular activities such as music and art, encouraging her to discover her passions and talents. He also introduced her to a group of mentors, professionals, who shared knowledge and offered guidance, helping Sophia to imagine possibilities that once seemed unattainable. Each new step was a challenge, but also an opportunity. Sophia, with her determination and thirst for learning, quickly excelled. Her teachers were impressed with her intelligence and dedication. She made friends, something that seemed impossible when she lived on the streets. For the first time, she felt part of a community that valued and supported her. At home, Oliver and Sophia developed a comfortable routine. They had dinner together, discussed the day's events, and made plans for the future. Oliver encouraged her to dream big, to believe in her abilities, and to never give up, no matter how difficult the journey might be. The first steps to a new life were exciting and transformative. Sophia was flourishing in an environment of love and support, and each day brought new discoveries and achievements. She was not only receiving an education, but also learning to trust and open herself to the world's possibilities. Oliver watched with pride and admiration as Sophia blossomed. He knew that the journey was just beginning, and that together they would overcome any obstacles that arose. The promise of a bright future became more real each day, and the hope that had always lived in Sophia's heart finally found space to grow and shine. Thus, with firm steps and hearts full of hope, Sophia and Oliver moved forward, ready to face whatever life threw at them. The journey of transformation had begun, and the future shone, with a renewed promise of infinite possibilities. Despite all the support and the new life that was beginning to take shape, Sophia soon discovered that the transition to such a different world would not be easy. Each day brought new challenges, testing her resilience and willpower in ways she had never imagined. At first, school was one of the biggest challenges. Although she was intelligent and dedicated, the environment was entirely different from the streets where she had grown up. The academic discipline, the teachers' expectations, and the social dynamics with her classmates were new and sometimes intimidating. There were moments when Sophia felt out of place, as if she would never fully fit into that new world. Some classmates, unaware of Sophia's story, made insensitive comments or treated her with disdain. It was hard for her to deal with the gossip and judgmental looks. The emotional isolation she felt was sometimes almost as difficult as the cold nights she had spent on the streets. But Sophia, with the strength that adversity had given her, faced each day with silent determination. Another challenge was the cultural and social difference between life on the streets and Oliver's wealthy world. Simple things like table manners, appropriate clothing, and even body language were minefields for Sophia. She made an effort to learn, carefully observing and following the example of Oliver and those around her. But there were inevitable moments of embarrassment that made her feel like an outsider. Moreover, the traumas of the past continued to haunt her. The nights alone on the streets, the abandonment by her parents, and the constant struggle for survival had left deep marks. Although she now had a safe place to sleep and people who cared about her, the nightmares and anxiety did not disappear easily. There were days when the shadow of the past seemed to obscure any light of hope she could see in the present. Oliver, noticing Sophia's difficulties, intensified his support. He hired a therapist specialized in childhood traumas to help her deal with the emotional scars. The therapy sessions were intense and sometimes painful, but little by little, Sophia began to open up, facing her inner demons and learning to deal with her emotions in a healthy way. Adapting to the new life also brought logistical challenges. Sophia needed documents, identity, and a series of other formalities that had never been a concern while living on the streets. Oliver, with his influence and resources, streamlined these processes, but each step was a reminder of how far her current life was from her past. Despite the obstacles, Sophia began to develop new coping skills. She found solace in writing, recording her thoughts and feelings in a diary Oliver had given her. Writing became a form of expression and an outlet for the emotions that often seemed overwhelming. She also found strength in small, daily victories: a good grade on a test, a new friend who understood her story, or simply a night without nightmares. Each small triumph was a step towards building a new and more stable life. Over time, Sophia began to realize that the challenges she faced were not insurmountable obstacles but necessary parts of her growth and transformation. She learned to ask for help when needed, trusting more in Oliver and the people he had placed in her life to support her. Oliver, in turn, continued to be an unwavering pillar of support. He was always there, ready to listen, offer advice, or simply be present. His patience and understanding gave Sophia the confidence that she could overcome anything as long as she had people who believed in her. And so, despite the new obstacles, Sophia continued to move forward, one step at a time. Each challenge faced was a testament to her resilience and a preparation for the bright future she was beginning to glimpse. The journey was far from easy, but with each difficulty overcome, Sophia became stronger, more self-assured, and more prepared for whatever life had in store for her. Sophia's transition to her new life was not without hiccups. But in every moment of difficulty, Oliver was there, offering unwavering support that became Sophia's anchor in her sea of changes. When the challenges at school became overwhelming and Sophia felt she couldn't keep up with the pace of her studies, Oliver was her safe harbor. He hired specialized tutors to help her with the more difficult subjects, but more than that, he offered his time. He spent hours with her, reviewing lessons, encouraging her with stories of his own academic struggles, and always assuring her that everyone faces difficulties and that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. In moments of social isolation, when insensitive comments from classmates or the feeling of not belonging made Sophia withdraw, Oliver was by her side. He organized small gatherings and social events where Sophia could feel more at ease and make friends in a more natural and less intimidating way. He also encouraged her to participate in extracurricular activities, where she could find people with similar interests, creating bonds that transcended prejudice barriers. Those past traumas that still haunted Sophia also found a strong ally in Oliver. He was always present at the therapy sessions, waiting patiently and offering comfort after each session. When nightmares came, he was just a shout away, ready to hold her hand and reassure her that she was safe now. He also encouraged her to explore new forms of expression, such as art and music, providing her with tools to channel her emotions constructively. Beyond emotional support, Oliver also provided constant practical support. He closely followed every bureaucratic process, from obtaining identity documents to enrolling in educational and cultural programs. He made sure Sophia had everything she needed to thrive in her new environment, from appropriate clothing to school supplies and even small things that made a big difference, like a laptop to help her with her studies. When Sophia felt overwhelmed by the changes and challenges, Oliver always knew how to lift her spirits. He organized unexpected outings, taking her to inspiring places in the city, from museums to quiet parks where they could talk and reflect on the journey so far. He shared stories of his own life, the ups and downs he faced, creating a deeper connection and showing that everyone, regardless of their background, faces personal battles. Oliver's kindness and patience went beyond conventional support. He had become more than a mentor. He was a father figure that Sophia had never had. The way he believed in her, even when she doubted herself, planted seeds of confidence and hope that flourished stronger each day. He taught her to be resilient, not just with words, but with the example of his own life and with daily acts of care and encouragement. Over time, the relationship between Sophia and Oliver transformed into a genuine partnership. They faced challenges together, celebrated victories, and learned from failures. Sophia, who once viewed the future with uncertainty and fear, now looked at it with a mixture of courage and enthusiasm, knowing that no matter what came, she had someone by her side who believed in her unconditionally. Oliver's unwavering support not only helped Sophia overcome her obstacles but also inspired her to be the best version of herself. She began to believe in her own worth and potential, seeing herself not just as a survivor, but as a young woman capable of great achievements. And so, each step taken in Sophia's journey was illuminated by the beacon of generosity and love from Oliver, guiding her towards a future full of promises and endless possibilities. With Oliver's constant support, Sophia began to see the fruits of her efforts, and the transformation in her life became evident. The girl who once wandered the streets, carrying the weight of abandonment and daily survival, now flourished in an environment of security, love, and unlimited opportunities. The first signs of change appeared at school. With the help of tutors and Sophia's tireless dedication, her grades began to improve. Subjects that once seemed impossible now became challenging but achievable. She excelled in subjects like literature and science, where her curiosity and intelligence shone. Sophia quickly became one of the top students in her class, earning respect and admiration from her peers and teachers. Her participation in extracurricular activities also began to show impressive results. Sophia discovered a passion for music, especially the piano. Oliver, noticing her talent and enthusiasm, arranged private lessons with a renowned teacher. Initially, her inexperienced hands struggled to master the keys, but with patience and practice, the music she played began to flow with grace and emotion. Each note was an expression of her journey, each melody a testament to her resilience. Sophia also got involved in community projects inspired by the desire to give back the help she had received. She started volunteering at homeless shelters, offering support and understanding that only someone who had lived the same reality could provide. Her story of overcoming inspired many, and she became an example of hope and possibility for those still struggling on the streets. Sophia's transformation was not limited to academia and volunteering. She developed social and leadership skills that she never imagined she possessed. She participated in school debates, took on leadership roles in group projects, and became an active voice in the school community. Her confidence grew each day, and she began to see that her past, instead of being a burden, was a source of strength and wisdom. Over time, Sophia began to receive formal recognition for her achievements. She won scholarships, academic awards, and public accolades. Oliver, always by her side, applauded each accomplishment with genuine pride, knowing that each of Sophia's victories was a reflection of her determination and courage. At home, the relationship between Sophia and Oliver grew even stronger. They were not just mentor and pupil, they were family. They had dinner together every night, discussing the day's events and dreaming about the future. Oliver, who had already achieved much in his life, found new joy and purpose in watching Sophia grow and thrive. Sophia also began to plan her future with more clarity. With Oliver's guidance, she explored various career options, visited universities, and talked to professionals in different fields. Her desire to help others remained strong, and she began to seriously consider a career in psychology or social work, where she could use her experience to make a real difference in people's lives. However, the most significant transformation in Sophia was internal. She went from a distrustful and withdrawn young girl to a confident and empathetic woman, ready to face the world with optimism and determination. The flame of hope that had always burned within her now blazed with a bright intensity, lighting her path and inspiring everyone around her. Oliver, seeing Sophia's transformation, felt deep satisfaction. He knew that the support and opportunities he had provided were only part of the equation. The true strength came from within Sophia, from her ability to face adversity and emerge stronger. She was living proof that, with love, support, and determination, anyone could overcome the most difficult circumstances and achieve greatness. Reflecting on her journey, Sophia felt immense gratitude for Oliver and the people who believed in her, but above all, she felt pride in herself. Every obstacle overcome, every new skill learned, and every victory achieved was a testament to her strength and resilience. The transformation in her life was complete, but her journey was just beginning. And so Sophia continued to move forward, ready to face new challenges and seize every opportunity. The girl who once dreamed of a better life now lived a reality full of promises and possibilities, and with Oliver by her side, she knew she could achieve anything her heart desired. Sophia walked through the city's streets with renewed purpose. The same streets that once witnessed her struggles now saw her transformation. The girl who once wandered aimlessly, seeking survival, was now a figure of hope and inspiration for many. School was the first place where her change became evident. Teachers who once looked at her with concern now openly praised her academic performance and dedication. Sophia not only kept up with the classes but also excelled, leading projects and contributing innovative ideas. Her presence in class discussions was always valued, as she brought a unique perspective enriched by her life experiences. Her classmates, initially skeptical, began to see her differently. The stories circulating about her humble origins and inspiring journey created a new respect for her. Sophia had become an informal leader, someone other students turned to for guidance and support. She was the friend everyone wanted, always ready to listen, help, and encourage. In the broader community, Sophia's story began to spread. Oliver, proud of her progress, shared her journey with friends and colleagues. Community events and local meetings often highlighted her achievements. She was invited to speak at conferences and panels, where she told her story with sincerity and passion that moved all listeners. One of the most memorable occasions was when Sophia was invited to speak at a conference on overcoming adversity. The auditorium was packed with people curious to hear the young woman who had transformed her life in such an extraordinary way. When she took the stage, dressed confidently and with dignity, silence fell. Sophia told her story without filters, speaking of her struggles, her pains, and her victories. When she finished, the audience gave her a standing ovation, many with tears in their eyes, inspired by the courage and resilience of that young woman. Sophia's impact was also felt in community projects. She began to lead initiatives to help other young people in difficult situations. She organized fundraisers for shelters and educational programs, using her own experience to inspire action. Her efforts were recognized by community leaders, and soon she became a central figure in several local organizations. The local media also started to pay attention. Newspaper articles and TV segments told Sophia's story, highlighting her incredible journey. She appeared in interviews, always humble but assertive, talking about the importance of opportunities and support. People who used to pass her on the streets unnoticed now recognized and greeted her, often expressing their admiration and gratitude for her inspiring story. One of the most touching moments was when a former teacher from the public school Sophia had briefly attended found her at a community event. He remembered her as a quiet and reserved student, struggling to concentrate amid the chaos of her life. Now, seeing her radiant and confident, he couldn't hold back his tears. "I always knew you had great potential, Sophia," he said, his voice choked. "Seeing you today, accomplishing so much, is an immense pride." Sophia smiled, hugging him with gratitude. "Thank you for never giving up on me, even when I had given up on myself." Sophia's transformation became a symbol of hope in the community. She showed that regardless of initial circumstances, with support and determination, it was possible to change the course of life. Her story inspired others to believe in their own possibilities for transformation, and so Sophia continued to shine, not just as a young woman who overcame immense adversity, but as a beacon of hope for everyone around her. The community that once saw her as a lost girl now saw her as a leader, an inspiration, and a living example that generosity, courage, and determination could truly transform lives. Sophia knew that there were still many challenges ahead, but with each step, she solidified her place in the community, becoming a symbol of resilience and a source of inspiration that would transcend generations. As Sophia's journey unfolded, she became a living testament to how hope and generosity could transform lives. The girl who once roamed the streets, invisible to many, was now a figure of light and inspiration. Her story resonated deeply with everyone who knew her, bringing out reflections on human nature, resilience, and the capacity for overcoming adversity. On a sunny afternoon, Sophia and Oliver were sitting in a park, a place that had become special to both of them. They watched children playing, birds singing, and leaves dancing in the wind. Sophia smiled, remembering how it all began. "Do you remember the day we met?" she asked, turning to Oliver. Oliver nodded, his gaze distant but full of affection. "How could I forget? It was the day my life changed as much as yours." Sophia reflected on the changes. Every step of the journey had been marked by challenges, but also by significant victories. She thought about how education had given her the tools to explore the world and find her place in it. She thought about how Oliver's unwavering support had been a beacon in moments of darkness. "I believe what really changed my life, besides the material support, was the trust you placed in me," said Sophia. "That gave me the strength to believe in myself." Oliver smiled, lightly touching Sophia's hand. "And you taught me the true meaning of generosity and hope. Believing in you was easy, Sophia, because you always had that flame inside you. I just helped keep it burning." The memories of the past were still present, but now they served as a reminder of how far she had come. Every difficulty faced, every tear shed, had paved the way to the present, where she could look to the future with optimism and determination. "Generosity can change lives," Sophia continued thoughtfully. "Not just the life of the receiver, but also the life of the giver. It creates a chain of kindness that spreads and touches many lives." Oliver nodded. "Exactly. And your story is a living testament to that. The world needs more examples like yours to show that no matter how difficult the start, with hope and help, anything is possible." Sophia looked around, seeing the world's beauty through a new lens. She knew that her work was just beginning. With the education she received, the opportunities given to her, and Oliver's continued support, she was ready to give back to the world the generosity that had transformed her life. She stood up, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face, and took a deep breath. "I have so many ideas for the future. I want to create programs to help young people in difficult situations, provide educational and emotional support, and show them that change is possible." Oliver followed her, smiling with pride. "I know you'll do great things, Sophia. Your determination and generous heart are exactly what the world needs." As they walked together through the park side by side, Sophia felt a deep peace. The journey had not been easy, but every step had been worth it. Her story was a powerful reminder that, even in the darkest circumstances, hope and generosity could light the way. Looking at the horizon, she saw not just her future, but the future of many who would be inspired by her journey. The message was clear. With hope, generosity, and willpower, anyone could overcome adversity and transform their lives in unimaginable ways. Sophia and Oliver, united by a destiny that brought them together, knew that true change begins with an act of kindness. And as they continued their walk, Sophia's story continued to inspire, motivate, and bring out the best in everyone fortunate enough to know her. And so Sophia's life turned into a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that true wealth is not in what we possess, but in what we can share and the difference we make in others' lives. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, can ignite a flame that lights the way for many, showing that with love and determination, any obstacle can be overcome. If you enjoyed Sophia and Oliver's story, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. If you love Touching Chronicles and want to support our channel to continue bringing more quality content, consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the first pinned comment. Your help is essential for us to keep improving. Thank you for your support. Until the next Touching Chronicle.